All right, the time is approximately 2:18 p.m. and we are back on the record.
Okay, so I think we just wrapped up with exhibit number 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to show you now exhibit number 4. Ask you to review that and just let me know when you're finished, please.
Okay.
Okay, so is this, first of all, have you seen this document before?
Yes.
And what is it?
It is our regulation regarding external school communications. 910-1.
And this is the version that existed as of June 2022, correct?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer. It says adopted September 25th, 2019. If we have not updated it, it is the current one, but I'm not sure.
So I think you testified earlier that you guys had updated.
We
this
did
one.
update 910-1. Yeah, so that's right.
And,
In January of just this year.
and so is this, what you see there as Exhibit 4, does that match your memory of the regulation that was revised in January 2023?
It's close. I mean, we made some revisions. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the revisions were.
So I understand, but is this the canvas on which the revisions were made?
I believe so.
Is there an uncertainty in your mind about whether this is the right version?
I mean, I don't understand the question.
So I just want to make sure we're on the same page, that this was the regulation that was used as, that was iterated on in January 2023.
Object to the form.
I know the 2023 communications form looks similar to this.
Okay. Have you ever seen another form of the Regulation 910-1 other than this one and the January 2023 version?
No.
So have you had a chance to review the 14 subparts of the social media section?
Yes.
Is there any one of those subparts that defines what an official PWCS social media account is?
Objection speaks for itself. Go ahead.
Number 2 states all PWCS social media accounts must be created with PWCS email address only. No personal email addresses may be used. That is one example of what makes it official.
Before we go any further,
Yeah.
well, go ahead. Why don't you identify any other elements first, and then we can circle back.
Yeah. staff members are charged with handling school department and official school media accounts. Then they go to say what they're prohibited from doing. So I would read this as someone must be charged to create the official account and authorize management of the account. There's more things that address that. There's 12 discusses the passwords for the official account, and that if someone loses their position, they must be changed. And those who are charged with managing the school or official social media accounts are responsible for keeping accounts updated, monitoring comments, questions, and other notifications that may require timely action. So those seem to be the ones.
Okay, so I got 2, 12, 13, and did you mention 1 or 2 others?
14, office communication will provide social media training. 101, group department based on requests when possible.
Just for the record's clear, I also mentioned 8.
Oh, 8.
8, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, 8.
Okay, anything besides those that appears to you to create a condition for becoming an official PWCS social media account?
Number 1, prior approval of the principal or program manager is required to create a social school office or department social media account. So number 1.
Okay, so 1, 2, 8, 12, 13, 14.
The other ones will address sort of how it's, the sort of regulations around managing it. The last one will be 6, that, any links have to be vetted. So, for example, if it's an official account and it's linking it to something else, those links have to be vetted and made sure that someone in an official capacity validated the appropriateness of the link.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I mean, the rest just manage the sort of appropriateness of how to manage the account.
Is there a portion of the social media regulation that uses the phrase official PWCS social media account or PWCS official social media account?
Change of the form speaks for itself. Go ahead.
I do not see that here.
Is the idea of a PWCS official social media account present in any other regulation that you're aware of prior to the revisions in January 2023?
I do not know the answer to that.
Do you know anyone who would know the answer?
I assume the superintendent or division council may be able to dig that information up.
Okay. So for number 1, if I understand the interpretation, only under this policy, only a principal or program manager can create an official PWCS social media account. Is that an accurate statement of your
Object to the form.
understanding?
It's written as it says here, prior approval, the principal's program manager is required to create a school, office, or department social media account. Yes.
And so if that prior approval does not exist, then the social media account cannot become official on that view.
Yes.
So for number 2, well, we'll stop there. Do you know whether a principal or program manager approved the creation of Pioneer's PHS?
I do not. I mean, again, it is not an official account, so I would not assume it had any kind of prior approval or authority given to create it.
Well, it doesn't say official on the profile, right?
So it's not an official account, so what it does and how it was created matters little to me.
So
So
does
on the
this-
official account for Patriot High School, I would assume on that one, it would follow these regulations.
So is there any part of the regulation that specifies that PWCS social media accounts must use the word official?
I don't object. I think it was asked and answered, but.
Right. So what I would say is, again, as a lay person who's looking at this, and as someone who is on Twitter, someone who walks in and out of our schools on a regular basis, someone who looks at, for example, the letterhead here. The letterhead for PWCS says, it doesn't say it's the official letterhead. Walking into our school, it doesn't say this is the official school. To the extent that, you know, when it says it's official, then I recognize that to be official. But I don't recognize, what I'm saying is that it really has to say it's official on social media for me to believe it, you know, is going to be something that is governed by the school division.
And was that the case even prior to the January 2023 revisions to the regulations?
Yes, I mean, based on this here, which is prior to 2023, you know, you would have to follow these criteria for this to be an account that the school division had authority over.
Well, that's kind of a unique view. So number 6, links to external websites, sites not on the PWCS server from PWCS social media accounts must be vetted to ensure content aligns with the school division's mission and values. If a link to an external website is posted to an account that PWCS does have control and authority over, does the presence of that link divest the school division of control and authority?
I read that line to mean, for example, when at PWCS News puts a link on their, that's the overall official account for the school division, when they put a link on there that says, look, here's the link to science fair winners, or here's the link to this story, those are properly vetted. And so that's how I read that to be.
Okay, so the presence of an external link that's not vetted does not divest the school division of authority over a PWCS social media account under this version of 910-1?
So if it's an official account, then we would expect it to abide by these rules. If it doesn't follow these regulations, then that might be something that needs to be looked at or monitored or addressed.
And is that how this policy has historically been applied by the school board?
Object to the form.
So the school board votes on a policy, the superintendent will operationalize and implement the policy.
And is that how this regulation, as an implementation of the policy, has historically been applied in Prince William County Schools?
Object to the form.
I would expect that whatever policies we have, you know, the school division would try its best to, you know, maintain the regulations and policies. I don't know in every case what was done and not done. There are a lot of official accounts.
So do you know do you have any information about whether these requirements, 1 through 14, have been imposed on PWCS social media sites that the school district perceives to be official over, say, the past 3 years?
It's a school policy. Just like any school policies, you know, we hope to implement them and make sure that folks follow them. And that's the intention of these policies.
So under this version of the policy, are you aware of whether the Pioneers PHS social media account violated any of these 1 through 14?
Object to the form.
I would not care whether the Pioneers account went against any of these rules because it was a personal account. It wasn't the official account. I only care on what the official accounts do. That's what the school division has authority over. We do not have authority over a personal account.
So following these policies don't actually make a social media account official, then, on your view?
Object to the form.
You can follow these policies, but it does not make it an official account. That is correct. An official account states it's an official account, and we have access to it. Anybody can follow what's on here as, sort of, hey, look, I'm going to follow good behavior, I'm going to follow this. That doesn't make it an official account. It doesn't make it an unofficial account. It just, it doesn't apply from a school board policy. We have no authority over a personal account.
Okay. So can you look back, swap back to 295-1?
Is that two?
Yep, 295-1,
That's
Exhibit
right.
2. Yep.
Can you read subsection 2 out loud, please? Expectation of privacy.
Employees and students have no expectation of privacy in their use of school computers or internet services, nor does the use of PWCS computers or related venues create an open or limited forum under the First Amendment to the federal or state constitutions. Any expectation of privacy related to the use of student or staff-owned devices is negated by the failure to comply with this regulation or other school board policies and regulations. The division retains the right to monitor all computer and internet activity by employees and students, and any information or communications on PWCS computer systems and network services may be intercepted, recorded, read, copied, and disclosed by and to authorized personnel for official purposes, including criminal investigations. Use of PWCS computers, networks, and internet systems is a privilege, not a right, and can be withdrawn by the division at any time.
So does the school district have authority or control of electronic devices that are used on its network, or electronic accounts that are used on PWCS computer systems?
Object to the
So
form.
so let me read that again, because you're asking me if I walk in then with my personal phone and use the Wi-Fi in the school division, does the school division have now authority over my personal phone? That seems to be the question you're asking. Is that clarified enough?
Yes, so on the use of a school computer or on a personal device using school internet, does the school retain authority, or does the school division retain authority over the person's use of either of those instruments?
Objection speaks for itself. Go ahead.
So I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a lawyer. I would say that if it is a school device that we own, we have authority over that. If it's a personal device on our network, I am not sure how that is interpreted by the law and whether we have authority over that. And even with this reading, it's not clear to me whether the school division has access to my personal device if I'm using their Wi-Fi.
What part of it is unclear to you about whether the school district has access to the device if you're using the school district's Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I mean, I do. So the last sentence says, use of PWCS computers, networks, and internet systems is a privilege and not a right, and can be withdrawn by the division at any time. So I'm assuming they're saying the school division can monitor or, allow you to use the internet or the Wi-Fi. I'm not clear that they have access or can take my personal device and tell me what to do with it, even if I'm using the Wi-Fi. That's what I'm unsure of.
So, do you see the sentence that begins, "The division retains the right"?
Which one? Where's that at?
6th line.
6th line, 1, 2, 3. Division retains the right to monitor all computers' internet activities by employees and students, and any information or communication on PWCS computer systems and network services may be intercepted, recorded, read, copied, and disclosed by and to authorize for official purposes, including criminal investigations. So as that is written, my interpretation would be that if you are using the Wi-Fi in the school division, those things, it seems here, what's being read, what they're saying is that the school division can intercept those and record them.
Do you know if Dr. Bishop was using the school network to operate the Twitter account?
I do not know.
Do you know if he was using a school-supplied device to operate the Twitter account?
I do not know.
Did either of those things matter to you in terms of whether the Twitter account is an official PWCS social media account?
No.
Wouldn't it bear on whether the school district has authority over the account under the expectation of privacy regulation?
Object to the form. Object to the form.
We have a policy somewhere that says you can use your personal devices or devices on your personal time in the school division. And again, our policy doesn't outline the ownership of a social media account to the extent that on what device it is being used for. That is left, to my knowledge, not stated. So again, the official account is the official account. Any other account is personal. Whether they're using their own device or not, or the school device, doesn't change the fact that the account is a personal account.
Are you familiar with the legal doctrine of under color of state law?
No.
Did you ever receive any training regarding that doctrine as part of your First Amendment training?
Not that language under the color of the law.
Have you ever heard the phrase before?
No.
In any of your training, did you learn the circumstances under which a locality or a municipality or a government can become responsible even for the use of a personal social media account by one of its employees?
I am
Object, sorry, I'm
yeah.
going to object to the form.
I am not aware that the government or municipality or locality can take over a personal account.
Well, that may be true.
By their own desire to do so.
Right. So I guess my question was a little different, which is in your training over social media issues and First Amendment law as a member of the Prince William County School Board, did you ever learn anything about the circumstances under which a municipality or a locality or a government can be held liable for acts taken by an employee on a personal social media account?
I do not recall learning anything like that.
Do you recall learning anything regarding what so-called Monell liability?
No.
Do you recall learning anything regarding the phrase trappings of state law?
No.
Do you recall in their social media training learning anything relating to the Fourth Circuit case Davison v. Randall, decided in 2019?
Yes.
So what do you know about Davison v. Randall as a result of your social media training as a member of the Prince William County School Board?
And just in answering this, if you learned information from counsel, I'd ask that you not discuss that. That's privileged, but you can certainly testify as to what your understanding is about it.
So I would contend that what he knows about that case is not legal advice unless it's being applied to a specific factual situation.
I don't disagree with that, which is why I gave him the caveat I did.
All right, thank you.
My understanding of that case is that it was litigated regarding a politician, an elected representative, Phyllis Randall, who was the Loudoun County Chair of the Board of County Supervisors. I cannot recall if it was when she was running or when she was chair. I think it was when she was chair. that she blocked someone from an account for 24 hours. And I think that gentleman's Davidson. And in the case that he filed for blocking it, he believed that his First Amendment right was restricted, or he lost his First Amendment right, or she took it away from him in a public forum. And the judge, my understanding, sided with Davidson in that case to say that if you're an elected representative and you're using your social media account as a arena for discussion on public matters related to the job, you cannot restrict someone from participating in the forum. That is my understanding of Davidson versus Randall.
And is your understanding, you used a set of specific words, just want to verify the understanding and meaning there. Is your understanding that the Davidson v. Randall decision applies only to elected officials?
That is all I've ever interpreted it to apply for, yeah. Because that's what the case was litigated around.
Has any of the social media training you received as a member of the Prince William County School Board addressed the circumstance in which liability for viewpoint discrimination on social media could be imposed against someone other than an elected official?
Now, hold on, let me just interpose the same objection. You can certainly testify as to what your understanding is, but not as to legal advice you may have been given.
Yeah, ask the question one more time.
Can you think of any time in your training as a member of the Prince William County School Board regarding social media that the training addressed the possibility of someone other than an elected official being held liable for violation of First Amendment rights on social media?
Same admonition. No legal advice, just what your
So
understanding is.
I have only discussed that, to my knowledge, regarding elected officials. I do not recall, and I will sort of say if it, yeah, I mean, that's it. Any other discussion would have been privileged and with counsel.
Would any other discussion with counsel have occurred after the case was filed?
Do you just mean in a pure timing standpoint?
Yes.
We have, I can't give you specifics on that, but I can tell you that, we have gone into closed session under privilege with lawyers regularly since I've been on the board in 2018 on matters that have to do with these issues, social media, and that is why the process has evolved in the way it has. And that has been based on recommendations from counsel over time, and those discussions are privileged and confidential as we voted on and certified with our school board meetings.
Okay. So,
Sorry. So, are we okay on sound? Is that disturbing?
Yes, we're good.
So is it your understanding as you sit here today that every discussion that occurs in closed session is privileged?
Yes.
And what's the...
Outside of whatever is foilable by the by the statute.
So as of today, is it your understanding that anything that cannot be FOIA'd from closed session is privileged communication?
That sounds like a trick question. Ask it
Didn't mean
again.
to be.
I know. That's why it has a couple double negatives in there. Let's do it again.
Is it your understanding that there are two categories of information that can exist in closed session, and one is FOIAble information and the rest is legal advice subject to privilege?
No, I understand, the way I understand it is that anything we discuss in closed session is confidential and privileged. And that includes counsel advice, and it includes other discussions board members have. Those are privileged and confidential when we go into confidential session and should not be discussed outside of it. That's my understanding.
Okay. And is it your understanding that for the protection, the confidential and privilege protection to apply, that the matter discussed in closed session must be on the closed session agenda?
It must be on the, it should be on the closed session agenda. What we go into closed session for, those topics should be listed on closed session agenda. Yes, sir.
In the time that you've been the Prince William County School Board Chairman, has the school board ever discussed a topic that was not on the closed session agenda during closed session?
Not under my watch, and for every time we've come out of closed session, we've had unanimous votes on, to my understanding, from what my recall is, that everything we've discussed was certified based on our closed discussion agenda items, yes.
And have you voted to certify the closed session agenda in every case where you were participated in the meeting?
I believe I have.
Are you aware of any person who has contested the propriety of the closed session certification?
I do not remember.
Has Justin Wilk ever discussed with you a concern that the school board had discussed a meeting in closed, or a topic in closed session that was not on the closed session agenda?
I do not recall.
Do you not recall that it happened, or do you not recall whether or not it happened?
I do not recall either. I do not recall that he had ever come to me to say we discussed something that we should not have, nor do I recall him ever voting that we did not certify, did not abide by the closed session standard. I feel like I don't remember a time where he ever didn't vote to certify it.
Is that conversation, him expressing that concern, something that would have stuck out in your memory if it had happened?
I suspect so.
Sorry, can you repeat that last answer?
I suspect so.
Has the school board of Prince William County ever discussed Ryan Sawyers during a closed session meeting in which Ryan Sawyers was not on one of the was not a topic on the closed session agenda?
I'm going to object to the form and just give the admonition that obviously what was discussed in closed session is privileged and confidential, but I think the question was related to whether or not there was a discussion that wasn't on the agenda for closed session. I think that's been asked and answered, but go ahead.
Not with respect to Ryan Sawyers.
Right. So what I answered earlier is that all discussions are based on what we go into closed session agenda items for, and that's what we limit our discussions to. And we get updates regularly on one of the main standing items on the closed session is legal updates, and there is we get those regularly.
Did you tell Ryan Sawyers that Ryan had his chance to get Bishop fired and that he missed it? Sorry, did you tell Justin Wilk that Ryan Sawyers had his chance to get Bishop fired and he missed it? Or words substantially to that effect?
No, I do not recall that.
Have you ever discussed the subject of Ryan Sawyers with Justin Wilk outside of a closed session meeting?
Yes.
Have you ever discussed Michael Bishop and his employment with Prince William County Schools with Justin Wilk outside of a closed session meeting?
Yes.
Have you ever expressed the opinion to Ryan or to Justin Wilk that Michael Bishop is only employed by Prince William County Schools as a means of striking back at Ryan Sawyers?
Never.
Has anyone in the Prince William County School Board ever expressed to you the belief or intention to not enforce regulations and policies against Michael Bishop as a means to frustrate Ryan Sawyers?
No.
Has the PWCS administration, to your knowledge, evenly enforced the Prince William County Schools regulations and policies against Michael Bishop with respect to social media?
I am not aware of any violations that Dr. Bishop has done that would require the school division. I mean, I do not, meaning I don't know if we've evenly or unevenly done anything, because I don't have any understanding of what issue might be of concern.
Okay. So let me hand you exhibit number, you can set 4 aside.
Okay.
So let me hand you exhibit number 5. And I will represent to you that this was produced to Mr. Sawyer's by Dr. Bishop.
What does that mean?
In discovery, it was produced as a document in his possession. It was provided to us.
Do you want to tell them what you think?
I don't know. I still don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, I can. This is a list of accounts that are blocked on Dr. Bishop's Pioneer PHS Twitter account.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that document before?
No.
Do you have any information prior to the moment that I handed you this about anyone besides Ryan Sawyer's being blocked by Dr. Bishop on that account?
No idea.
Okay. Would you please read through the list of names, look at the pictures there to the extent you can make them out, and the handles, and let me know when you're finished whether you know the owners of those accounts?
You want him to read them silently, right?
Yes, please. One of these is just an emoji. I don't know how he would pronounce it.
And your question is whether I recognize any of these?
Yes, do you, well, we can start there. Do you recognize any of the accounts?
Yes.
Which ones do you recognize?
The Guy Morgan account, the Don't Touch PWCS account, the Hala Ayala account, the Our Schools account, Delegate Danica Rome account, Ryan Sawyer's account. That's it. Oh, that's it.
Do you know who Colin Kaepernick is?
Yep.
Do you recognize that account, third from the bottom?
Yeah, I don't know if that's his actual account. I don't know. So, I mean, I don't follow his account, so I don't know if that's an accurate account or a parody or whatever.
Do you construe the blue check mark as in?
Yeah, so, I mean, yes. So, yes. And then if you're asking that.
Check. I don't know what the question was.
Right. So
do you construe the?
I know you started. I think he talked over.
Okay, go ahead. Ask the question.
Do you construe the blue check mark next to Colin Kaepernick's name as indicative that it is the official Colin Kaepernick?
Yes. Prior to Twitter changing their blue check mark, it did require verification. So both based on that, I guess I would say Jamie. I mean, I don't recognize him because I don't follow them, but Jamie Harrison's DNC chair account has a blue check. Mm-hmm. I don't know who Brian Schatz is. Never heard of him. Colin Kaepernick, I have heard of him. He's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, or was, and there's a blue check there. So that could be a legitimate account.
Does the blue check mark play any role in whether an account is an official PWCS account under 910-1?
No.
Prior to its revision in January 2023?
No.
Why is that?
It's not in the documents. It doesn't say a blue check is required for it to be an official account that I know of. I don't think we have that in there.
So if it's not in the regulation, you don't think it matters for the perspective of deciding whether something's an official PWCS account?
Object to the form.
No, I mean, again, broadly, again, I would specify that the account should say this is an official account. We should have access to it. We should be able to change the passwords. We should be able to have, whatever we have in our regulation. So the blue check mark's not in the regulation. For example, currently the blue check mark requires $20 or $10 a month or whatever they did. So I don't know if the school division is going to adopt paying for the blue check mark. Prior to it, I'm not sure the school division's official accounts went through the process to be verified by Twitter or Facebook, whatever process they have. So that is not in the policies, and so I don't know if that has any bearing. It does not have any bearing on whether the account is official or not.
So the blue check mark is not indicative of officialness because anyone can pay the $20 and get the blue check mark. Is that correct?
Currently, at the time that these were probably printed, you had to be verified by Twitter somehow that the email address was attached to the account and they did whatever they did to verify the person behind the account was the person. I don't know the process by which they do that.
And the reason that the blue check mark is not, to just take it one step further, the reason the blue check mark is not representative of true identity is because you don't have to be the person that is depicted on the account to get the blue check mark. Is that right?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what Twitter's rules are for giving it or not and who's on the picture.
As of today, you don't know the rules?
No, I mean, I don't know what the verification process requires for you to get a blue check mark. Meaning, does the picture have to line up with who you say you are, or could the picture be something else? I don't know the answer to that.
Does it cost anything to put the word official in your Twitter biography?
Object to the form.
I don't have official in my Twitter biography.
Not you specifically.
Oh.
Does it cost anything to put the word official in one's Twitter biography?
No.
So the statements that you made, the control, the passwords, and the word official, do those standards appear anywhere in 910-1?
Object to the form. Prior testimony asked and answered, I believe.
Ask the question again.
So the elements of officialness that you just gave, control, passwords, and the word official on the face of the account, do those standards appear anywhere in 910-1?
Same objections.
I would contest that PWCS social media accounts must be created with PWCS email address only. That's criteria by which one would be official. I would address and state that links that they're using have to be vetted. I would say staff members charged with handling school department office social media accounts, that's important. I would say there's a password one in here. I can't. That's probably number 12. Principals, program managers must promptly change social media passwords. That would indicate to me that having a password made it an official account.
Okay. So I thought I understood your testimony before that none of these things were required to be an official account because the word official is the precondition. And it's the only sufficient condition for an official PWCS account. Did I misunderstand your testimony?
You misunderstood. Yeah, you misunderstood. I said it has to be an official account. As we stated, we should have control over the account. We should have access to the passwords of the account. We should be able to monitor the account. We should, and then the account needs to follow the rules that we have outlined here. That's how that works.
And if the account failed to follow any of these rules, would it become an unofficial or a not official PWCS social media account?
these rules govern only official accounts. And if the rules weren't followed, then I assume measures would be taken to address that. But these are only over official PWCS accounts, these rules. These rules do not apply to personal accounts. So if it's an official account in violation of rules, then they're subject to being addressed.
Okay. So prior to January 2023, when, well, let me ask this. In January 2023, did the revision to 9.10.2 codify the understanding of official that you've described here today, official social media's accounts?
Object to the form, speaks for itself.
I don't have a copy of that in front of me. I can't remember if we said it specifically.
Where did those conditions come from?
I think they're in there, but I don't want to state an answer that I'm not exactly sure of.
Okay, let me show you.
I mean, I will say that my knowledge of it being official predated that, in the sense we've discussed this earlier, that I pointed out that if it doesn't say it's an official account, I do not assume it's an official account.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume it's someone else's account. So just like at PWCS News, to my knowledge, as far as I remember, it always said it's an official account. Some of the high schools have their own official accounts.
So I apologize, I do not have paper copies of this one. Just added during the break.
Like the others, you'll give us a copy of that.
Yes. Zoom this in for you.
Are you asking me
Is
to
there a
read
question?
this?
Sorry.
I'm waiting for it to.
Oh, okay.
load.
All right. Sorry. Got it. And what is this that you pulled up?
This is, well, do you recognize it?
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Sure. I said, do you recognize it, Dr. Lateef?
This looks like the new version of the community relations update from January of 2023.
And is this the regulation that you've made reference to throughout the deposition, and the one I referred to as being the January 2023 revision?
I can't remember. I thought there were two we revised on 2023. 910, and then there was another one. 910, and then I thought we revised. Didn't we revise another one?
So if I can,
It could be just 910.
I will proffer that 910, or I'll represent to you,
Yeah.
910.1 was revised and 910.2 was created.
Got it. Okay. So you want to scroll down on this one?
Of course.
Is there a question, or you just want to look at it?
I just wanted him to, it seemed like he wanted to scan over it.
I did. Couldn't scroll down. Okay, that's good. You scroll down. And then scroll down some more. And then scroll down some more. And go down some more. reasonable. Okay. Is there more to it?
There is more.
Okay, go ahead and ask your next question.
So is this the regulation you were talking about when you have made reference to the establishment of standards for what is an official PWCS social media account?
Yes.
So where in this regulation are the conditions you identified about official and...
Scroll down. No, up, go back up. Go back up. Back up. Up. Where were they? Go back up. Up. Keep going right. Keep going. Here. The individuals must complete requests for official approval, from which attachment, website, and if you go to 6, there shall be officially one approved website for each, and then there's the additional approved website. Social media platforms shall be identified as such using PWCS logo, accompanied by the following: the PWCS website, PWCS Department of Communications
Just to write down what he's saying.
has been approved. Okay.
If you would just slow down a little bit.
Okay. So section 7 has some of that language that they should be official.
Where does it say official?
Approved websites and social media platforms shall be identified as such. So I would assume that they should be identified as such.
Identified as such, comma, using the PWCS logo accompanied by the following, colon.
Mr. Mayo, I need you to speak closer to the microphone. I'm having trouble hearing you.
It's this one there. She's picking up from that.
Got it.
No, you need that one too to video.
That's the yeah.
So is there something other than the quotation there beginning with this PWCS website that you understand needs to appear on the social media site for it to become an official site?
Objection speaks for itself. Go ahead.
I think with this new policy, we're asking that the website include this PWCS website or webpage or whatever has been approved by the PWCS Department of Communications. So that language is new or different than what I've seen before on official sites.
Okay. But I understood that to you the key word was official.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
But that's not in this new version of the policy, is it?
Objection speaks for itself. Go ahead.
I have to read through it again, but I don't see it there in those terms. Oh, very nice. Look at that. Hold on.
I was going to just start at the top for you.
Okay.
We can start here.
I think
Good. Up a little bit in the heading. Okay. Wait, hold on one second. So, I would still maintain that if it says it's an official account, that's what I believe it to be.
And is that based on any policy or regulation of the Prince William County School Division, past or future?
For future, as I read this, official is used so many times that I read this with the assumption that, if you say you're an official account and add those other things that was listed down there in point 6, that it would be an official account.
Okay, so if if the social media account does the things in point 6 but doesn't use the word official, it wouldn't be an official account to you?
Ask the question one more time.
If a social media account complies with Section 6 of new Regulation 910-2 to take effect in July 2023, but it doesn't use the word official in its profile, would it meet the understanding you have of what is required to become an official PWCS social media account?
Show me 9-2.
The entire thing is 910-2.
Sorry. That's a great question. I don't have the answer. That's a future policy, and as I look at it now, if we don't say this is an official account, that would concern me. But I would say that if it says that this is, later on it says this account has been vetted or approved by the Prince William County Office of Communications, then that would then become my default for it being an official account. I would say that moving forward based on this policy.
And why is it concerning for you that the word official is not required to be used in the profile by this new version of 910-2?
I think, as I've stated many times earlier, that I make the assumption that if it says it's an official account, then I believe it to be an official account. If it doesn't say it is so, then I do not believe it's an official account. So based on that criteria, I would say maybe this policy should further go forward and say that it should say that, on top of adding this was communication vetted by this is approved by the Department of Communications.
Okay, so are you aware of any method by which PWCS has made members of the public aware of which accounts are official and which are not under the previous version of the social media policy codified in 910-1?
I'm not aware of anything they have done outside of listing our regulations that we have on these matters that are available to the public.
Are you aware of anything PWCS or the school board has done to educate its own employees about the standards for maintaining an official PWCS social media account other than the promulgation of the regulation 910-1?
I believe that we do have trainings in professional development regarding this, but I do not know when and where they've been implemented and how.
Do you know whether Michael Bishop was the recipient of any social media training?
I have no idea.
Do you know if the social media training the school board supplies to its employees regarding social media and potential First Amendment violations includes a discussion or information about Davison v. Randall?
Ask the question one more time.
Do you know if the social media training the school board and the division supply to its employees includes information about the Fourth Circuit case Davison v. Randall?
I have no idea.
Is that something that you care about as a Prince William County School Board member?
I stated earlier that Davison v. Randall, I believe, was really specific to elected officials. And the boundaries of that case were litigated on that fact alone. That is my belief. I'm not an attorney. So whether everyone needs to be trained on that specific case, I don't have the answer to that. I'll leave that up to social media experts and those folks.
Has any member of the school board that you're aware of expressed the concern that the Davison Davis and V. Randall decision ought to be incorporated into training provided to PWCS employees who are not elected officials?
I have not heard any school board member say that specifically, no.
Have you heard any school board member express a concern that the school board could be held liable for a PWCS employee blocking or moderating a third party's comment on social media?
I believe we are only liable for our own official accounts. I do not believe we are liable for any personal account of any parent, PTO president, teacher, coach, who has their own personal account that's not an official account. We have no liability on that.
Are you aware of any school board member who holds a different view?
I think Justin Wilk recently described a different view in one of our public meetings.
Prior to Justin Wilk making that statement, were you aware of any school board member who held the view that the school board could be held liable for the acts of PWCS employees who are not elected officials and incurred by moderating content on social media?
I will say that we have had discussions regarding this case with legal counsel, and I'll leave that as privileged, attorney-client privilege.
Let me ask a better question. Prior to the filing of this case, are you aware of any person on the school board who expressed a concern that the school board could be held liable for blocking or moderating of a social media account by a PWCS employee who is not an elected official?
I will say no, but I will say that the risk of social media accounts, the numbers of them that exist, and the lack of a strong policy, overseeing and monitoring them, as we have discussed earlier, the evolution of social media and how it's changed so vastly in the last 5 years is something that we have regularly discussed as a matter that was a risk to the school division and a risk that we should address with improved policies, which is why Division Council was asked to look into revising our policies.
Was Steve Waltz the person who called for the formation of a social media task force in 2020?
I don't recall. I believe the school board asked Division Council to do it. I do not remember if Steve Waltz had any say one way or the other in that or not. I believe the school board asked for it. Whether we asked for a task force to be set up or just, hey, Division Council, go look into this. However they decided to do it, I'm not sure how they determined that it was going to be a task force. I do not believe it was our idea to create a task force. I believe that the school board asked the Division Council look into it, and they may have come up with how that was set up. I can't really remember.
Okay. So in 2020, the social media regulation, and you can pull it out if you want, it's Exhibit 4.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, that regulation, external communications, was less than 1 year old. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Do you recall whether it was at the beginning or the end of 2020 that school board had expressed the desire to update its social media policies and regulations?
I believe it was early 2020. I mean, it was, so we're in the heart of the pandemic. Well, no. So this was, yeah. So the pandemic hit March 13th. I believe we had asked for an update and to be looked in earlier than that. But I'm pretty sure it was before the pandemic because it got delayed by the pandemic.
Was there a concern expressed by anyone on the school board as early as September 25th, 2019, that the policy being enacted with respect to social media was insufficient in some way?
There may have been, I don't know.
Did you hold that view?
I've held the view since I got on the board that the social media is a very difficult challenge that the school division has had to monitor, and how we regulate it in regards to the school division was something that I believed we should have updated policies for, and policies that will evolve with time. For example, we have ChatGPT now. I don't know if that's considered social media, but that's a website that requires us to now go back and look at all of our whether it's cheating guidelines, honor code violations. So every week there's some new app or something. So I have always asked that, and that we monitor and make sure we're doing the best we can to keep up with changes in technology. So that's been my official, my sort of view moving forward.
Thank you for that answer. I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Subsection 6, blocking of specific social media platforms.
Yep.
So was there a portion of the previous social media regulations that set forth the standards for blocking a social media commenter from a PWCS social media account?
Objection speaks for itself. Go ahead.
I do know that, and I don't know where the regulation or rules or policies or procedures or protocols exist, but I do know that prior to this 2019 and before, people have been blocked for pornography, for obscenity, for abuse on Prince William County official sites. So where those criteria to do so exist, I'm not sure. And I don't know if they just exist as part of our general code of behavior, and we extend that code of behavior to online, meaning that the way we expect you to behave in the hallway is the way we expect you to behave online. I don't know if it comes from that sort of assumptions, but I believe that might be where some of that comes from, but I'm not positive.
Is it positive that, or is it possible that people didn't have a unifying policy for how they were blocking and moderating social media prior to the implementation of Regulation 910-2?
Object to the form. Go ahead.
I do not know.
Do you know any person at PWCS, employee, board member, division council, anyone that was applying a consistent method to blocking or moderating social media commenters?
It would be speculation for me to answer that. I would just say that we have a Department of Communications, and I assume that department oversaw that work. Whether they were doing it in a consistent matter or not, I have no idea.
So would it be a concern for you as the board member of Prince William County Schools to learn that the communications department did not provide a set of criteria or standards for moderating or blocking third-party commenters to all Prince William County social media operators?
Object to the form.
Does it bother me? That's I guess what I would tell you is that it concerns me that as I joined this board that we did not have evolving policies that addressed the sort of wild west of social media, and that we did need to get it together in those regards, and that's why we created we asked Division Council to look into it. Again, where those policies and procedures exist, again, I am not sure, but I know we have sort of concerns regarding pornography, obscenity, harassment, bullying, that whether again we draw on them from the code of behavior or we bring that forward. I do believe that in the best interest of serving the public, the school officials use their best judgment based on the policies we currently have and had in addressing that in the same way you would deal with it in someone walking down the hallway, I guess. And that's what I've assumed. And I believe, to the extent that our folks operate with good intentions in mind, I believe that that's what they chose to do.
Okay. I want to show you now exhibit number 7. I'll represent that this was a complaint submitted by Guy Morgan on May 10th, 2022. Have you ever seen this document before?
I'm sure I have.
Did you receive it directly from Mr. Morgan?
I may have. I've looked at it. I can't remember if it was sent to me by email from Division Counsel or it was delivered to me as a, when the lawyers hire that guy to deliver stuff to people, or whatever that guy's called.
Courier? Process server?
Processor, or the guy who delivers it. I don't know how I got it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, make it one more size bigger if you don't mind. I mean, I may have read it at the time. I haven't seen it in a while. When was the date on this thing?
May 10th, 2022.
So 1 year ago. Document serves a formal complaint, request for investigation activities. Bishop, computer line, the complaint is for a series of at least 14 formal complaints, repeatedly made. Okay.
I know,
I'm
either
sorry.
read to yourself or...
Okay. Okay, scroll down, please. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, scroll down. Scroll down. So, just for the record, I think I read it last year, but I never read it in the detail that I guess you may ask me about it, and so I'm seeing this for the first time in over a year. I would say that typically when I get a document like this, I do peruse it and then make sure legal counsel has it and they're addressing it in the way we're supposed to address it.
Mm-hmm.
You can scroll down. I don't know how many pages there are.
13.
Do you want me to read all of them?
No, I don't.
Or do you want? Why don't you ask the questions?
Yeah, I
and
don't have many.
Why don't we do that?
So at the end, there's a Facebook post by Dr. Bishop. Have you ever seen this before?
Names that mean things, different countries. I don't remember this.
Can you see the name of the hotel here?
No, what does it say?
So I think it's Vietnamese. It's the Phuc Dat Hotel.
Phuc Dat or Dat? Phuc Dat, okay. Hotel.
Sadly, I don't speak Vietnamese.
I see,
so.
right. Names that mean different things in different countries. Okay.
Have you ever seen that photo before?
Maybe I saw it in this, when this came through last year, but prior to that, no.
Is that a racist Facebook post?
Object to the form.
I mean, you're asking me my opinion on that? Is that what you're asking me? The opinion on, is that a racist Facebook post?
Yeah, I wouldn't really qualify it as an opinion, but I'm asking for your
So
answer to that
I
question.
wouldn't call it racist, no.
Is
I
it-
think he's making fun of the words that in our language you might say, you know, F that hotel, and in that language that's what it looks like. So I don't know if that would be racist or that would be, look how words look in a different language.
So you don't see that meme as poking fun at the expense of speakers of the Vietnamese language?
No.
Do any of these memes strike you as racist?
Mr. Mayor, could you please just speak up a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better.
I don't know if I would call them racist. I would say that these are, you know, certainly memes that are have a play on words that can be perceived by folks to mean different things.
So the picture of the man wearing a sombrero that says "I hate tacos," said "No Juan ever," Juan, does not strike you as a racist meme?
Objection, that's an answer.
I mean, it could certainly be perceived as a racist meme, yes.
The picture of a man in a sombrero with the words, Mexican word of the day, juicy, tell me if juicy the cops, does that one strike you as a racist meme?
Same objection.
That certainly can be perceived as racist, yes.
Do either of the two memes in the top half of the page featuring African American men, black men, could those be perceived as racist?
Same objection.
They could be perceived as racist.
Could Michael Bishop's meme featuring the Phuc Dot Hotel be perceived as racist?
Same objection. That's an answer.
No, I think that the what I see there is someone sort of pointing out a play on words that, you know, words in another language sound like words in our language that would not be appropriate. I don't see how that particular meme there would be perceived as racist. I think that's different than the other memes you showed me earlier.
Is it close?
No. No.
So Vietnamese students at Patriot High School, do you think any of them could take offense to something like this?
Object to the form.
I believe people can take offense to anything, and certainly they could perceive that way, yes. But I do not perceive it that way. In this example, I perceive this as a play on words.
But you're also not a black man or a Mexican man, right?
No, I'm not.
And you can understand how those memes could be perceived as racist.
I mean, those certainly, yes. I mean, I can see that, you know, in today's day and age, we're seeing a lot of things online that can be offensive to many folks for many reasons, and we need to be And I do understand that, yes. But you're asking me specifically about this one. Do I see this one as racist? No, I see this as simply someone pointing out how words in a different language look like words in our language that would be considered obscene or offensive.
Okay, so did the school board have notice, or you shouldn't speak for the board, did you have notice as of May 10th, 2022, that there was an allegation that Michael Bishop was violating PWCS regulations as to social media?
We were made aware of in that notice that Guy Morgan sent.
Do you know if there was an investigation into the allegations contained in exhibit number 7?
There probably was, yes.
Do you know for sure?
I think there was for sure, but I'm not, that's confidential and attorney-client privilege.
Well, I'll have to ask you to rely on Mr. Porter to capably represent you on what was privileged and confidential. But I don't think the act, whether an investigation existed at all, would be privileged or confidential.
I think an investigation was done, or it was looked into by the school division.
Was there, do you know if there was an outcome to the investigation?
I do not recall.
All right, I'd like to show you exhibit number 8.
I don't know if this is a good time. Are you okay? You need a break or anything?
Yeah, well, let me go
Evan?
a couple more minutes and then we'll take a break here.
Okay, is this a quick one or?
Let me remember.
Actually, you know what, let's take a break now.
This one is longer.
Yeah, this one. Let's take a break.
Okay.
We're going to get into this. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the time is approximately 3:40, and we're off the record.
Counselor, do you?
All right, the time is approximately 3:49 p.m. We're back on the record.
All right, Dr. Lateef, let me open this up for you. So Exhibit 8, I'll represent to you, was a complaint submitted by Guy Morgan on May 27th, 2022. Should I keep zooming out? Can you read that okay?
Yes.
Do you recall receiving a copy of this complaint?
Yes.
Did you receive it directly from Mr. Guy Morgan?
I can't remember if I received it directly from him or if it was emailed to me. I know I've been a recipient of a numerous number of lawsuits from Guy Morgan and Ryan Swears. I can't remember which ones came to my house or came to my office or came through division counsel. Numerous suits.
So I want to be clear, this is not a lawsuit.
Numerous complaints. It may have very well been emailed as well, I'm not positive.
Okay. Did you review it completely at the time that you received it?
I believe so.
Does the photograph here of, well, do you recognize the person depicted in the photograph?
That is Dr. Michael Bishop on the right.
And is the woman to the left in the photograph blurred out, her face?
Yes.
Do you know the identity of that person? And I'm not asking you to say it.
No.
Do you know if that person whose face is blurred out is a PWCS student?
I do not know.
Did you ever know?
I believe the complaint said she was a student.
Do you know whether that fact was ever confirmed by anyone at PWCS?
I know that the school division looked into this complaint, and I assume that, let's assume, yes, I mean, I think I was notified that she was a student, yes. And I think these pictures were taken either at the school promoting student success or at the prom, I'm not positive. Mm-hmm. There was a number of pictures.
It appears she's wearing some kind of a formal gown.
Could be prom.
Do you have any concern about the placement of Michael Bishop's hand on this student depicted in the picture?
I do not.
Do you know if this picture appeared on the Twitter account Pioneer PHS?
Object to the form.
I do not.
Did Mr. Morgan allege in his complaint that that was true?
He must have.
Do you see anything in the first paragraph that bears on that question?
Complaint relies on information. So Morgan contends that it was posted on the @Pioneers PHS site, Twitter feed.
Is the placement of Dr. Bishop's hand a violation of any PWCS regulation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could you look at Exhibit 2? No, sorry, Exhibit 3.
Any particular part or the whole thing?
Exhibit 3 at Section 503-1, Subpart 8, Employee-Student Relations. Could you read Section 2 out loud, please?
Employees must recognize and establish appropriate boundaries between themselves and students, regardless of the student's age. Must not engage in any behaviors or interactions with students in person or through any communication media which could be perceived as inappropriate, intimate, grooming, or harassing in nature.
Does the placement of Dr. Bishop's hand in Exhibit 8, could it be perceived as inappropriate or intimate?
Object to the form.
So I do not believe it to be inappropriate. And when looking at the picture initially and even now, I do not believe it to be inappropriate. And I received no complaint from any student, that student or family regarding that picture.
Does the regulation require a complaint by a student or their family to enforce?
It does not, no. And I say that only because I think many people looked at that picture probably on the Twitter feed and made no conclusion similar to that of Mr. Morgan's.
Why do you believe that that occurred?
Well, let me take back. I received no complaint similar to Morgan's about that picture.
Was that
Unless Ryan Sawyer's also sent a complaint, and he might have sent some emails about that as well.
Okay. Can you read aloud subpart 822 at the very bottom of the page there?
Employees shall not engage in intimate, unduly familiar, or sexual conduct with any student at any location in or outside of school, including but not limited to conduct prohibited by Regulation 738(3), harassment of students.
Does the placement of Dr. Bishop's hand on the young woman's torso strike you as unduly familiar?
No.
Do you pose for photographs with women of any age with your hand in the position depicted on page 2 of Exhibit 8?
Object to the form.
No.
Do you intentionally not assume that posture in photographs when you're photographed with women?
I guess I don't think of it like that. I just don't typically do it.
But you don't see anything wrong with it?
In that photo, when I first saw it, I do not see anything wrong with it. And when you define the word unduly familiar, I don't know to what extent Dr. Bishop knows the student, is familiar with the student. The circumstance of this being at a prom, and certainly, I suspect the division looked into this. And again, I received no complaint from the student or the family. And so while I don't perceive this to be something that is inappropriate, I have not been notified that anyone else in this matter thought that this was inappropriate.
Did Justin Wilk think it was inappropriate?
Object to the form.
I didn't ask his opinion.
Did you receive it?
I don't remember.
Did anyone on the board express the belief to you that the placement of Dr. Bishop's hand in this photograph was violative of any PWCS regulation?
My understanding from the board is that this was pushed to the superintendent and asked to be looked at and investigated like we normally do, and asked division counsel to do so. And to the extent that I feel like I've talked to the board about that, that's, I think, what everyone felt like that should be looked into. This was a complaint that should be addressed like all complaints that come in.
Can students consent to unduly familiar, intimate grooming or harassing touch in PWCS schools?
Object to the form.
I don't know what you're asking.
Well, you made the point that the student had not made a complaint about this touch. And I guess my question is, does that matter under the policy?
No, it doesn't matter under the policy, no.
What does unduly familiar mean to you within the meaning of the policy? So part 8.2.2, first line.
Where am I at?
It's the second page of Exhibit 3.
Do you have a specific example that you'd want me to address on whether that's unduly familiar? In this example, I would not call it unduly familiar.
What does unduly familiar mean to you?
I mean,
Object to the form.
you know, that's going to be an opinion based on what context we're putting that in. So,
In the context,
would I expect Dr. or anybody to kiss a student? That would be unduly familiar. Would giving a high five when something great happens, I would not consider that unduly familiar, while others may consider that unduly familiar. So, it would be an opinion. And in looking at this picture at first glance, like most folks, I do not view it as such. But I certainly respect the opinions of those who may differ in that, which is why this complaint was looked into.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the outcome of the complaint?
I have to take this
That's okay.
call. Yeah, if you don't mind. This
No
one is
sweat.
coming from
If you don't mind me going a little late. happy to.
Charlottesville. No, that's fine.
Sure. All right, the time is approximately 4 p.m. We're off the record. All right, the time is approximately 4:03 p.m. We're back on the record.
So on exhibit number 3, page 2, do you see the third from the bottom paragraph that states employees must recognize and establish appropriate boundaries between themselves and students regardless of the student's age, and must not engage in any behaviors or interactions with students in person or through any communication media which could be perceived as inappropriate, intimate, grooming, or harassing in nature?
I see that, yes.
Could this be perceived as inappropriate or intimate?
Object to the form.
It was certainly perceived by one complainant or two. I do not perceive it as so. And I recognize that the first line says employees must recognize and establish appropriate boundaries between themselves and students. And I believe that Dr. Bishop probably thought this was appropriate boundaries, and I believe the school division looked into this.
So is there any line short of actually putting Dr. Bishop's hand on a young woman's breast tissue that you would say is unduly familiar?
Object to the form.
Ask the question one more time.
Is there a place for that Dr. Bishop can put his hand, short of actually touching her breast tissue that you would perceive as unduly familiar
Same
in a
objection.
photograph like this?
You know, I'm going to stick to what the photograph shows, and I'm going to leave it at that. That I do not believe that is inappropriate. If you have an example outside of that that you want me to address, I'm happy to look at that. But as far as I'm concerned,
I do have an example.
sure.
So here's Exhibit 2 to the complaint. You see that there's a photograph of Dr. Bishop alongside a young woman holding up a certificate of some type.
I do.
Do you see that the second photograph at the bottom of the page is Dr. Bishop's hand placed on the torso of the young woman wrapped around her back?
Yep.
Is the placement of Dr. Bishop's hand in this photograph violative of any PWCS regulation?
I do not believe so.
Is Dr. Bishop touching this young woman's breast?
I cannot tell from this picture, no.
Is it concerning to you that a photograph exists of a PWCS high school principal with his arm around a student and you cannot tell whether he is touching her breast?
Object to the form.
So I think, again, there was no complaint made by the student nor the student's parents, nor those who looked at this other than the complainant, that this was such behavior. And I have no record to believe that, you know, this is something that, you know, I need to worry about outside of the fact that this was looked into by the Prince William County Schools Division to address the complainant.
Can a high school student consent to a principal touching her breast under Regulation 910-2?
No, they cannot.
Oh. Can a high school student consent to a principal touching her breast under Regulation 503-1?
Generally, the student does not consent nor can consent to that. So I don't know, you know, what is the last one? 503-1 what?
That's what we're looking at now.
No, I know, but which subsection?
I didn't cite a specific subsection.
Oh, the whole thing? No, a student cannot consent to a principal touching their breast.
Is the board's responsibility to investigate complaints even absent a complaint by the victim of the alleged misconduct?
Object to the form.
Yes, yes.
Is it professional behavior of Dr. Bishop to take photographs with students with his hand in the position shown on page 3 of Exhibit 8?
Object to the form.
I believe Dr. Bishop is taking a picture here to promote student success. She has a certificate. I believe that the school, you know, actively and members of the school community promote student success. At looking at the picture, I had not at any point thought that there was anything inappropriate happening there.
And do you feel the same way today?
I do.
Okay. One more. Showing you now exhibit number 10, which I'll represent to you, was a complaint submitted by Guy Morgan on June 22nd, 2022. Have you ever seen that document before?
I believe so.
Did you receive it directly from Mr. Morgan?
It may have been an email from Morgan or given to me from Division Counsel as a complaint through counsel,
Did you?
or the superintendent's office, or delivered. There's a lot of them.
Did you read the whole complaint at some point after you received it?
What was the date on this one? This was,
June 22nd, 2022.
I think I read it at the time, yeah.
Did any of the behavior described in this complaint about the use of the @Pioneer PHS Twitter account by Dr. Bishop concern you that it may violate a PWCS regulation?
What I was concerned about in the complaint was not the Twitter account, but was the actual complaint about any action that might have compromised student privacy. And so that was, again, forwarded to Division Counsel and the superintendent to investigate and look at. So when I looked at this complaint, my concern was primarily with, was a violation of student privacy, did that take place?
What information posted on the Twitter account were you concerned could constitute a violation of student privacy?
I didn't, I mean, other than the fact that the complainant had made a complaint, I said that this needs to be examined. I don't remember exactly what his complaint was.
Do you know whether Dr. Bishop used the opt-out directory to determine which students to post on the Pioneers PHS Twitter account?
So I'm not aware of whether he did or did not. I would tell you that, again, the opt-out form is something that the school division on their official accounts has to try to manage. On personal accounts, that is extremely difficult to manage or police, whether it's a PTO, whether it's a coach, whether it's a private citizen at a game, taking a picture of, students and posting it on their own personal site. It's impossible for the school division to police that and to enforce opt-out or opt-ins on personal accounts.
Mm-hmm. Does PWCS reserve the right to scrutinize the personal social media accounts of its employees and discipline the employees based on the content?
Ask the question one more time.
Does PWCS B reserve the right to scrutinize the social media activity of its employees and discipline the employees based on activity on a personal social media account?
I believe Prince William County Schools has the right to, ensure that our employees, for example, if someone is out drunk driving on their personal time, that's a violation of the way we expect our employees to behave. So in the same way, we expect that our employees behave, within the context of the law, when they are not working for us, and any violation of such is something that would come to our attention. Do we make it our business to scrutinize everyone's personal account? That is not what our division office does. Unless we get a complaint. If we get a complaint, we look into it. But it would be difficult to say we are going to scrutinize everyone's account who's a private member, an employee of the school division.
So could you take out exhibit number 2?
Yep.
And look at subpart. Maybe it's page 5.
Page 5?
Yes. Thinking there was, oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong exhibit. It's exhibit number 3. Page, page, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Page 4. Will you read out loud, please, the first paragraph of Part 11, Conduct Outside the Workplace?
The school board recognizes that employees have the right to conduct their personal lives separate from their positions as school board employees. However, employees must also recognize their duty to maintain that separation in light of their unique position as public school employees who serve the school community as role models, leaders, and instructors of students. In that respect, school employees are held to a higher standard of ethical and moral behavior, both in school and in the community.
And will you keep reading the next paragraph and then skip to subpart 3?
Subpart what?
So read the paragraph
Okay.
beginning conduct or actions.
Conduct or actions of school employees occurring outside school which undermine the employee's position as a role model, reflect negatively on the reputation of the school division, jeopardize the trust of the school board and community in the employee's integrity, or have a negative impact on school operations and student education, can serve as a basis for disciplinary action up to and including dismissal. Examples of such conduct include, but are not limited to, which subsection would you like me to read now?
Number 3.
Number 3, social networking activities on internet sites or other public media which can be reasonably interpreted as the official speech of PWCS or which occur during the employee's work hours or using PWCS network or devices, or which impact employee's ability to perform his/her duties, or which reflect negatively on the professional reputation of the employee and/or PWCS.
So I want you, if you could, just set that aside and look back at number 1, exhibit number 1.
Yep.
This is the picture of the profile, right?
Yep.
Could the content on that account reasonably be interpreted as the official speech of PWCS?
Check to the form.
I do not believe so. No, I believe that almost everyone who's involved in our school division and who have students and who regularly use social media recognize that official accounts have some label to them to indicate they are official or this is an official account. And I believe that most people understand that, and I believe that all other accounts are assumed to be not official. Now, they may be an account by a PTO member or PTO president, so one might give value to that, but that's a personal account of that PTO member, but not an official account of PWCS. So no, I do not believe so.
So what if the school webpage, the official school webpage, links to the social media account? Is it an official social media account of PWCS?
No, and that's the link should have been vetted and I guess be appropriate, but based on the earlier policies where we talked about, links. For example, if we link, we're doing a discussion on artificial intelligence security scanners in the school division. We may link to that company's website to look at their white paper. So we would have, validated that. But, I assume if we're following the rules that we set forth, then we should be, linking to accounts that are official.
That seems reasonable to me. So I'm going to show you the Patriot High School homepage. Have you ever looked at this before?
No, maybe not. I don't know. Not recently.
Not recently.
Yeah.
Does it follow a format that all the other schools in the division
The
follow?
official ones do, yes. So there are some. So the official accounts for the schools all look fairly the same. They follow the same template.
Is this an example of that template?
I don't. This doesn't look like the template. No. Yeah, that looks like it. It looks like they've changed them since I've looked at school websites. But go to Colgan's, because that's where my kid goes. Let me see that one, because I'm on that one a little bit more often.
How do you
Yeah,
spell
right.
it?
No, Colgan, Charles Colgan. Maybe it'll be under Charles. It'll be under high schools. Go to high schools. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah, I guess I feel like they changed it. These colors, like they added. But yeah, I guess that's the official account.
And they have the social media stuff down here on the bottom right.
Yeah. Yep. So yes, those look like official accounts.
Okay. So here's the Patriot High School Twitter.
Yeah. It should be the Patriot High School, is that right?
Is that the official Twitter account of Patriot High School?
Does it say the Patriot High School?
It does.
And we link to it. I think that is the official one.
It doesn't say official.
That's the one I assume is the official one, though. I can't remember why. But that is the one. It might be because it was linked to it, or,
So actually saying official isn't determinative of whether a social media account is the official PWCS social media account?
I mean, I think we discussed that earlier by saying, if you say it's official, we have to verify that it's the official account. So someone could just make up an account, say it's official, but that's how I perceive the accounts to be, is this is the official account. But this, I do know it to be the official account.
Okay, so just to be sure we're on the same page, you know that the Twitter account with handle The Patriot HS is the official PWCS social media account for Patriot High School?
Yes.
And that's true as of today, April 11th, 2022 at 4:22 p.m.?
I believe so. And that's the one I think I follow and perceive to be the official account, yeah.
You also follow the Pioneers PHS?
I do, and that one I know is not the official account.
Mm-hmm. And as of today, April 11th, 2022 at 4:22 p.m., would you agree that this Twitter account at The Patriot HS does not state that it is the official account of PWCS or Patriot High School?
Based on what I see on the screen there, I agree with what you're saying. It does not say that.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Dr. Lateef, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Hold on. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, just real quick.
Sure.
You have still have Exhibit 2 out? You just set it aside a second
Yes.
ago.
Yep.
If you could turn to paragraph 2 real quick. You
Yep.
answered some questions before about this. Anywhere, if you need to read over sorry, it's on the second page, paragraph 2.
Oh, okay.
Titled Expectation of Privacy.
Yep.
If you need to read it over again, but does anything in this paragraph state that the school has the authority to take control, take possession, or access any type of application or account?
I do not believe it says in here anything where the school has the authority to take over some account that's a personal account.
It does, though, however, retain the right to monitor anything going on their property or the network.
Yes. I do believe that to say that.
Are you aware of any social media networks that are on Prince William County's network?
I do not know if if social media accounts are accessible from the network.
More so,
Yeah.
are there any hosted by the network? For instance,
Like-
does Prince William County School on its server host Twitter?
I do not believe so.
No. Hypothetically, under expectation of privacy, a teacher is accessing their fantasy football and using a Yahoo app.
Yeah.
Would Prince William County School then be able to go in and access and change that person's fantasy lineup?
So I believe there's some other policy that says employees may use their devices for purposes that are personal, that as long as they do not impact their daily work, there is some discretion allowed for that. Now, what is your question again?
Would that teacher be relinquishing control to Prince William County Schools to go in and utilize any of the applications being used on the network?
So just because you're using it, do you automatically relinquish control? No, I do not believe so. I think if there's a complaint about how it's being used, that may allow for the school division to perform an investigation on what was done on its server, but I do not believe it gives us the authority to just, without cause, go and look at something.
And so under
Or take
paragraph 2, they'd be allowed to review that information, and then they could take away the privilege of using the network, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
I just have a question or two. Dr. Lateef, Mr. Mayo asked you a couple of questions towards the end of his examination, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear
Yeah.
on what your answers were. And then he put up on the screen the Patriot High School website.
Yeah.
And then he clicked on the Twitter button for that, and that linked through to what you described as
That's right.
as the Patriot High School official Twitter feed. Is that right?
So what we talked about earlier was that, if the website links to it, that should be considered an official account. If that's the official link from the Patriot website to the Twitter account, then I would deem that as official.
That's indicia of your mind of an official account.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. That's it.
We're good?
Thank you, Dr. Lateef.
No follow-up.
Can I take the microphone
All
off?
right, if there are no further matters, the time is approximately 4:27 p.m. This deposition is concluded. Would you please ask him about reading signs?